Hi, my name is Jim. This is day 4 of our occupation of the Diamond Volcanic Outstanding Natural Area. This location here, we are boondocking, also known as dispersed camping. In this Nash 20-foot travel trailer here, 1999. We have our camp stove set up and our water over there. We brought our bikes, which is really great, especially for dispersed camping. Bikes are good because you never want to go down like a one-lane road, even if it's paved, if you don't know there's enough of a turnaround for you to turn around. So if you're looking for dispersed camping spots, you want to scout out locations, bikes are great. The way we found this, like I said, this location is in the Diamond Crater National Outstanding Natural Area or something like that. And you wouldn't normally think you could camp here, but what we did was the research that I did that works well for dispersed camping, finding boondocking locations. That is, if you want to use your camper, not be in a campground with other people or an RV park, which is really what I don't want to do, then you need to disperse. The official term is dispersed camp, boondocking. Most of the regulations you're going to need to know about for boondocking are from the federal government, either the Bureau of Land Management or the Forest Service, and that's because in the western United States, the federal government owns most of the public land. There's some state land and such, but most of the places you'll be dispersed camping will be federal land. Not national parks like Yosemite or Yellowstone. Forget about trying to disperse camp in those areas. There's so many people that, you would see, if this were Yellowstone or Yosemite, this road back here that has basically no traffic on it would be bumper to bumper. So we're here in this volcanic crater. I'll put the coordinates. If anybody else wants to come out here and camp, I'll put the coordinates down here at the bottom so you can see. But also using our bikes, we were able to check out a bunch of different volcanic craters around here. Way in the background there you can see the Steens Mountain Range. So where we are generally is at the northern edge of the Great Basin of the United States, which encompasses most of Nevada, western Utah, a good part of southwestern Idaho, and a good part of southeastern Oregon. So we're in the southeastern part, about 40 miles north of Burns. This is on BLM land. That stands for the Bureau of Land Management in this case. And this is adjacent to the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge. I'm not exactly on it. You can't not camp in that refuge, but you can. Anyway, getting back to the issue of dispersed camping and how did we know this was a legal site? As I mentioned before, most of the regulations you'll find will be from the Forest Service or the BLM, and we need to check with this is a BLM area. So what we did was, my wife is pretty proficient with the BLM and Forest Service maps, and so we're able to, every once in a while, car drive. I tell you, man, the people who live around Burns just wave and smile. The way we found this spot was, we thought, okay, this is a place where it's the same company. See, at this point now, the locals suspect us of being FBI agents camping out and spying on them. That's just the way they are. The way we found this location was, there's just not a list of these places to go. What we did was a combination of, like I said, my wife is pretty handy with BLM maps. The other thing you can do, you can get BLM maps online, download them. They work with, some will even, if you use them with your smartphone or iPad or whatever, they'll show your location on the map. Pretty decent, and they'll also show you where you can disperse camp or boondock. So using that info and then cross-referencing that with Google Earth is extremely handy, because then you can look from the sky around the area you'd like to go, and you can start to zoom in on areas where it looks like it might be campable. This whole region is really volcanic, and pretty much if you go off-road, you're not going to be able to camp, because it's not going to be level. So this spot is quite a little gem in the Diamond Craters, and this is one of the only spots I've seen level enough and large enough to even do this out here. So anyway, what it did was use Google Earth, looked at the satellite imagery, looked at places where it looked like there was enough room to camp, and then cross-referenced the Google Earth coordinates with the BLM map, which said you could disperse camp. Once you get a place on Google Earth, looks like it's been camped on or is campable, and that is also a dispersed campsite, then you have a location, and then you just have to hope that when you get there, nobody else has already camped there. That worked out great here. I think a lot of people don't know you could just camp here, because if you didn't know about also as far as the regulations are concerned, you can do this. We could sit here for 14 days, my batteries wouldn't make it that long, but theoretically, the regulations say you can, when you find a dispersed campsite like this, tent or otherwise, trailer, you could be using a tent. You can do this in the same place for 14 days. You can move So that's the video on dispersed camping in the Diamond Crater outstanding natural area, and I made a few videos yesterday while biking around this area, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. And then probably the best thing is just, I mean, you see every couple hours you might see somebody drive by, or they might drive up to go look at a crater, but there's just nobody out here. It's really awesome. Now, if this were Forest Service, while I'm on dispersed camping, if you want to get to learn about it, the federal government owns most of the western United States, especially the places you'd want to camp, like, the wilderness areas and such. It's either the BLM, or the land is either owned and administered by the BLM, or it's administered by the Forest Service. If you're on Forest Service land, so if you're in a forest, you're in a national forest, then you're going to need to get your maps from the forest. It's still the federal government, but it's the Forest Service website that will have the maps, and then we'll also have maps that show you where you can disperse camp. So if you're on Forest Service land, you do the same thing with, I would do the same thing with Google Satellite, Space Google. You zoom down, you look at a place that looks good, cross-reference it with the Forest Service map, and then that's how we found so far 3 really great sites that looked like otherwise you couldn't camp on them. But we have the knowledge of the law on our side, and so here we occupy burns without weapons or firearms, because you really don't need them in most situations. Okay, I hope this video, and the Forest Service regulations are the same as far as 14 days is where we can stay at sites. So, thanks for watching this video. I hope it's useful for you if you're camping. You don't want to stay at a campground around screaming kids and barking dogs and people using their